Have you ever wondered why your burrito bowl at Chipotle doesn't taste like it used to? In this video, we'll break down all of Chipotle's original old-school recipes. We'll explore the traditional Mexican dried pepper paste that is the key to unlocking Chipotle's original flavor. And I'll reveal all the secret ingredients missing from nearly every recipe online. Here's everything we'll discuss today: cilantro-lime rice, fajita veggies, Chipotle adobo pinto beans, roasted chili corn salsa, char-grilled adobo-marinated chicken thighs, the original cheese mixture they no longer use, and Chipotle's guacamole. If you've made an online Chipotle knockoff recipe, you may have noticed you're not getting the depth of flavor you tasted in the original recipe. This is because most people instruct you to use canned Chipotle in adobo sauce. But what sets the original recipe apart from internet interpretations is the use of a traditional Mexican adobo marinade. So, what exactly is an adobo sauce? Adobo refers to a paste or sauce made from dried chiles and other aromatics or vegetables. This thick paste is used as a base for a ton of dishes in traditional Mexican cuisine. And it's a homemade adobo sauce that will make all the difference in getting the original Chipotle flavor. But what dried peppers does Chipotle use for their adobo? You'll see several different varieties at most grocery stores: pasilla, ancho, guajillo, arbal, and they all have their various uses. But Chipotle, as its name implies, uses a dried version of the jalapeno pepper called a chipotle. And you'll probably encounter two different types of dried chipotle at most grocery stores. The first is called chipotle meco. These are closely related to the type of pepper Chipotle uses, but mecos are dried and smoked for a ridiculously long time, which gives them an intensely earthy and deeply smoky flavor that's a little too overpowering for Chipotle's flavor. What we're looking for is the cousin of Chipotle meco called Chipotle morita. These are picked a little earlier than mecos, and they're dried and smoked for a much shorter time. Their flavor is a lot sweeter and not as smoky as Chipotle meco. When you're buying dried chiles, you want to make sure they're pliable like this. If you find your chiles are brittle and break or crumble when you bend them, they're too dehydrated and should be discarded. To prepare the adobo sauce, here I'm starting with 8 ounces of dried moritas. We'll begin by snipping off the stems from each chile if they have one. Next, we'll cut each one in half lengthwise to remove all of the seeds and ribs from each chile. It's not necessary to get every last seed, but you want to get out as much as you can because the seeds don't blend well and they're sometimes very bitter. Once you've cleaned up all the peppers, heat your largest pan over medium heat, add the dried chiles to the pan, and stir continuously until the peppers are fragrant, usually about 4 to 5 minutes. The reason we toast the dried chiles before cooking them is because this will activate some of the essential oils and bring out lots of complex flavors. Next, we'll add the toasted chiles to a large bowl and fully submerge them in hot water. Then cover the bowl with plastic wrap and rehydrate the chiles for about 15 to 20 minutes. After the chipotles have plumped up, strain them and set the rehydrated chiles aside. For the garlic, Mexican cooks have a unique way of roasting their cloves. Because of its harshness, raw garlic is not typically used in traditional Mexican cuisine, so they'll generally roast or blanch it before adding it to dishes. What they'll do is heat a dry pan over medium heat and add the individual cloves with the skin on to take out the harsh bite of raw garlic and give it a nice, mellow, smoky flavor. You'll just turn the garlic cloves every few minutes until they're well charred on the outside. The entire process usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You'll know the garlic is done when the skin is blackened all over and the cloves are slightly softened. When you're finished, remove the skin from each clove and you can store the roasted garlic in a covered container in the fridge for about a week. To make Chipotle's original adobo sauce, we'll start by adding 1 1/4 cups of water to a blender or food processor. Then toss in all the rehydrated chiles, 4 to 6 cloves of roasted garlic, 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and 1 tablespoon of Morton's kosher salt. And a quick note on the oregano and salt. In spite of popular belief, Chipotle does not use Mexican oregano in their dishes. They use McCormick's Mediterranean oregano. And for salt, they use Morton's coarse kosher salt in all their recipes. So that's what we're using for this video. Now, I offer my sincere condolences if all your smoothies start tasting like Chipotle, but you'll just blend the adobo over medium speed until you have a mixture with no large chunks in it. If the sauce doesn't seem to be coming together, you may need to add a splash of additional water. And you might be wondering why I'm instructing you to make such a large batch of adobo. The reason is because it's quite labor intensive. So it's always smarter to make much more than you need because you can section it down into smaller portions and freeze the rest for future use. The adobo will keep for about a month in the fridge and it'll stay good in the freezer for about a year. Now, for the chicken, Chipotle uses boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And they use chicken thighs because they're virtually indestructible and extremely difficult to overcook. So here I've got 2 pounds of chicken thighs. To prepare them, you'll just trim off any excess bits of tough fat or gristle you find. Then take the Ziploc bag and turn the tops out like this so the marinade won't get on the sealing part, and add the chicken to the bag. Then, in a small bowl, mix in 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of the adobo marinade along with 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar and 1 tablespoon of honey and whisk them together. And these are the 2 secret ingredients almost everyone misses when making their Chipotle chicken at home. The addition of vinegar adds a bit of brightness and acidity to the marinade and acts as a brine to tenderize the chicken even further and help keep it extra juicy. And even though Chipotle no longer uses honey in their chicken marinade, it was included in the original recipe to make the chicken a bit sweeter and less spicy than their steak. Then pour the marinade over the chicken in the bag and make sure all the pieces are coated in the adobo. And you'll want to marinate it for about 8 to 12 hours. Just be sure to keep it refrigerated the entire time. Now, one of the things that sets Chipotle apart from other restaurants is that they prepare all their proteins on a large flat-top grill. What this does is help ensure they get a nice charred flavor over the entire surface of their meats. If you've ever wondered how to recreate this effect at home, I recommend using a carbon steel griddle like this one from today's video sponsor, Made In. One of the most impressive things about Made In's carbon steel griddle is the design. Its large, flat surface area is perfect for breakfast dishes like bacon, eggs, and pancakes, but it also works equally well for lunch and dinner favorites like grilled cheeses and smash burgers. I've even started cooking all of my hibachi recipes on the griddle, and it's a total game changer. The surface area is large enough to cover 2 burners, so if you want one side hotter and the other side cooler, you can prepare multiple dishes simultaneously. It's also engineered with sloped sides to hold up to 40 ounces of liquid. But my favorite features are the hand-welded edges and raised handles that make it extremely easy to move around. The griddle is exceptionally versatile and can handle up to 1,200 degrees of heat. You can use it indoors on any type of stove, gas, electric, induction, or outdoors on a grill, or even an open flame. How cool is that? So be sure to check out the carbon steel griddle and Made In's other cookware by using the link in my video description to save on your order. Now, when you're ready to cook the chicken, start by heating your cooking surface to 350 to 400 degrees. And Chipotle sprays sunflower oil on the griddle for their chicken, but any neutral oil will work. Once the oil is hot, add the marinated chicken thighs smooth side down. Another unique thing Chipotle does is to sprinkle only one side of the chicken with kosher salt while they're cooking. So season all the thighs with salt and brown them until they develop a nice char. I believe Cooking with Chris, who is a former employee of Chipotle and has a great channel you should check out, says the color they look for is that of a Dr. Pepper can. You're looking for a deep mahogany color with some blackened spots. So when your thighs are well browned on the skin side, flip them over and continue cooking until the thighs are at least 175 degrees. I prefer mine to go to about 185. And I know this is a bit hotter than you're used to, but chicken thighs benefit from a little more heat. It helps the collagen in the dark meat break down even further, ensuring they stay extra tender. Just don't go past 210 degrees and you'll be fine. After the chicken is done, remove the thighs from the griddle and allow them to rest for about 10 minutes. This will help the juices redistribute. When you're ready to cut the chicken, you always want to place them smooth side down. It's much easier to cut chicken with the skin side facing down. Now slice each of the thighs into approximately 3/4 inch strips. Then turn the strips 90 degrees and cut them into 3/4 inch cubes. And this is the original method Chipotle once used to prepare their adobo marinated chicken. If you're preparing this in advance, you can store the chicken in a covered container in the fridge for about 3 to 5 days. Now, before we delve into all the other dishes, we need to address a key ingredient Chipotle uses in nearly everything that almost everyone gets wrong: citrus juice. I think when most people online see cilantro-lime rice on their menu, they assume it's just lime juice, but Chipotle uses a blend of lemon and lime juice. If you look at their website, it states 1 gallon of citrus juice at our restaurants is made with about 63 limes and only 25 lemons. I've experimented with a bunch of different ratios to get the proper flavor, and I found that 2 small limes for every 1 large lemon taste exactly like the samples I picked up at Chipotle. When you're making your batch, just make sure to strain it to get all the pulp and seeds out of it, and you can store the citrus juice in the fridge for about a month. And the first dish we'll use the citrus juice in is the adobo pinto beans, but we'll need to prepare them first. So here I've got 1 pound of dried pinto beans. You'll want to pick through them and remove any broken beans or small stones. Then in a small bowl, add 2 tablespoons of kosher salt and a cup or 2 of water. Whisk just enough to dissolve the salt and then pour the salted water over the beans. Now pour in more fresh water so the beans are completely submerged and covered by about 2 inches of water. The salt will help the beans absorb the water more evenly, which will prevent your beans from bursting when we cook them. And you don't have to refrigerate the beans while they're soaking, just put them in an out-of-the-way space for about 8 to 12 hours to properly hydrate. While our beans are soaking, it's a perfect time to prepare the cilantro-lime rice. But what type of rice does Chipotle use? Most of the people at the restaurant I've spoken with tell me they see 50-pound bags of producer brand extra fancy long grain white rice. The problem is that this brand isn't commercially available, but a handful of people have told me they've seen Riceland brand enriched long grain white rice at their location. And Riceland is available nearly everywhere, so this is what I recommend. Although any brand of long grain white rice should work fine. To prepare it, we'll start by washing the rice under several changes of running water until it runs clear. This will remove some of the surface starch that causes the rice to clump together. And there's no real trick to how Chipotle prepares their rice except the fact that they add oil and bay leaves while they're cooking it. So in a large pot or rice cooker, add 2 cups of washed white rice, 1 tablespoon of neutral oil, 2 bay leaves, and enough water to cook the rice. We add bay leaves to the rice to avoid adding the entire bay tree or laurel tree, whatever it's called. And then you'll just cook the rice according to the package instructions. After it's done, remove the cooked rice to a large bowl and pour over 2 tablespoons of neutral oil. Then stir it in until the oil has coated all of the rice. Next, in a small bowl, add 1 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro, and 2 tablespoons of citrus juice. Whisk until the salt is dissolved and pour the mixture over the rice. Stir until everything is well incorporated and adjust the seasoning with extra salt and citrus juice. And this is the exact recipe for Chipotle's cilantro-lime rice. After it's cooled off, you can store the rice in a covered container in the fridge for about 3 to 5 days. Now, back to the beans. When they're finished soaking, rinse them off with cold running water, pick out any broken ones you see, and set the soaked beans aside. Then add some neutral oil to a small pan over medium heat. Toss in 1/2 cup of finely diced yellow onion, sweat the onion until it's translucent, and remove it from the heat. Then add the soaked and rinsed beans to a large pot or pressure cooker along with the onion, 2 tablespoons of the adobo sauce, 2 bay leaves, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1 slice of bacon. And this is one of the things almost everyone misses when they're attempting to recreate the original flavor of Chipotle's pinto beans at home. They used to add bacon to the cooking liquid with the beans, but they went completely vegan with their recipe several years ago. The bacon is optional, but if you're seeking the original smoky flavor of Chipotle's pinto beans, toss in a strip when you're cooking them. Then add enough water to cover the beans by about 2 inches. I'm using 6 cups here for my pressure cooker. If you're doing this in a pot, you may need to add more water. Then just cook the beans until they're done. It takes roughly 15 minutes in a pressure cooker, and it will likely take about an hour or 2 on the stovetop. When the pintos are finished cooking, test them to ensure they're done and season the cooked beans with 2 tablespoons of citrus juice and 5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Taste the beans to make sure they're well seasoned and adjust with more citrus juice and salt. Once they're cool, the beans can be stored in a covered container in the fridge for about 5 to 7 days. For the roasted chili corn salsa, Chipotle uses frozen sweet corn with roasted poblano peppers. They just thaw it out and toss it with the seasoning and aromatics. It's a simple recipe and it's super easy to make at home. If you want to use fresh corn on the cob, you'll start by heating the broiler on your oven to high. Then line a small pan with aluminum foil and oil 4 corn cobs. Place the corn under the broiler and turn them every few minutes until they're blackened all over. It usually takes about 25 to 30 minutes. When they're done, allow the cobs to cool a bit, then cut off the kernels and set them aside. Conversely, if you don't feel like messing with fresh corn, you should also be able to find frozen fire-roasted corn and roasted corn in a can at most grocery stores. These are what I use most often. Next up is the roasted poblano. It's the same process as the corn, but we'll need to steam and clean the pepper after we roast it. So let's start by heating our broiler on high and lining a small baking sheet with tinfoil. Then oil the poblano all over and place it under the burners. Turn the pepper every few minutes until the skin is blackened all over. It generally takes about 10 to 15 minutes. When you're done, place the pepper in a covered container or a bowl with plastic wrap and let it steam for about 10 more minutes. This steaming loosens the skin on the pepper and will make it much easier to remove. Once your poblano has cooled slightly, remove the skin by peeling it off all over the pepper. Now remove the stem and open the pepper to clean out any seeds or veins you see inside. Then you'll just roughly chop the flesh of the poblano into small pieces. And you can store the roasted pepper in a covered container in the fridge for about a week. To prepare the chili corn salsa, we'll start by adding 14 ounces of corn to a large bowl. Then toss in 1 tablespoon of roasted poblano pepper, a 1/4 cup of medium diced red onion, 1 tablespoon of finely diced jalapeno, 1 tablespoon of chopped cilantro, 4 teaspoons of citrus juice, and 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Mix everything well, give the corn salsa a taste, and adjust the seasoning with more citrus juice and salt. And you can store the chili corn salsa in a covered container in the fridge for about 5 to 7 days. Now, for the fajita veggies, it's not technically a recipe, it's a ratio by weight of bell peppers to onions. Chipotle uses 3 parts green bell pepper for every 2 parts red onion, and they slice them both into roughly 1/4 inch strips. So let's begin by heating some neutral oil in a large pan over medium-high heat. When you're up to temp, toss in 2 sliced green bell peppers and 1 small sliced red onion. Leave the fajita veggie mix alone for about 2 minutes to let it caramelize slightly. Then stir the vegetables and leave them alone for another couple of minutes. And just keep cooking them until they've got some color but aren't totally limp and soggy. You want them to have a bit of crunch and texture still. When you're done, kill the heat and season the fajita veggies with 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt and 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. Stir the salt and oregano into the veggies and adjust the seasoning with extra salt if necessary. And you can keep the fajita veggies in a covered container in the fridge for about 5 days. Next up is Chipotle's guacamole. And this is one of the things I don't feel is worth the extra money at the restaurant because it's so easy to make at home. So we'll start by adding the flesh of 2 small avocados to a large bowl. Then toss in 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro, a 1/4 cup of diced red onion, 1 tablespoon of finely diced jalapeno, 2.5 teaspoons of citrus juice, and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Then mash everything together and keep stirring the mixture until it has a smooth consistency. Give the guacamole a taste and adjust the seasoning with extra citrus juice and salt if necessary. And the guacamole will last for about 2 to 3 days in a covered container in the fridge. Now, I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but Chipotle changed its cheese mixture several years ago, and I believe the previous version was way better. They currently use straight Monterey Jack, but they grate their cheese from a large block. The reason grating your cheese is superior to buying the pre-grated stuff is that block cheese doesn't include any of the starches companies use as an anti-caking agent to prevent it from clumping together. This can sometimes dilute the flavor and make the cheese kind of gritty. So if you dig their current offering, definitely go with a nice block of Monterey Jack and grate it at home. But if you like Chipotle's original cheese better, which I do, the old version was a blend of white cheddar and Monterey Jack. Only the Chipotle OGs will remember this. To make it at home, you'll just take 1 part white cheddar and 1 part Monterey Jack and grate them on the largest holes of your box grater. Then toss them together. The cheese mixture should keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks. And one last note while we're chilling in the dairy section. If you like sour cream on your burrito bowl, Chipotle uses Daisy brand full-fat sour cream, which should be available pretty much everywhere. Now, to prepare the burrito bowls, start by layering some of the Cilantro-Lime Rice on the bottom of a large bowl. Then toss in the fajita veggies, the adobo pinto beans, some roasted chili corn salsa, the adobo marinated chicken thighs, the shredded cheese mixture, and top it off with the guacamole. And if you want the authentic Chipotle restaurant experience of making one of the bowls, pretend to be a manager writing up one of the workers if they accidentally serve you even a single gram of anything extra. And these are all the original Chipotle recipes. But very quickly before our taste test, I want to show you how to make the Chipotle-Honey Vinaigrette because people go crazy over this stuff. So let's start by adding 5 tablespoons of red wine vinegar to a small blender or food processor. Then toss in 3 tablespoons of honey, 1 tablespoon of water, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of the Chipotle adobo paste. blend for about 20 seconds, and then slowly drizzle in 15 tablespoons of neutral oil. Once the mixture is emulsified, pour it into a small bowl and season with 3/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper and 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Whisk the pepper and oregano into the vinaigrette and adjust the seasoning with extra vinegar, honey, salt, adobo, or black pepper if necessary. And you can store the Chipotle honey vinaigrette in a covered container in the fridge for about 2 weeks. Just make sure you shake it well before using because it will separate. All right, back to the taste test. I know eating out has gotten very expensive lately, but this video will make you about a week's worth of food and should save you a ton of money. And if you want to learn how to make traditional Thailand-style pad thai at home, make sure to check out this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.